How'd You Create That is supported by the Open Institute for Social Science. It is a podcast about the process behind creating a work of art. Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Alfa. In this episode, I have invited Samip Dhungel, who calls himself a spoken word poet in exile. I have seen him perform numerous times over the years, seen his words come to life on stage, and know him as a performing poet who brings a distinct aura with him. He was also my senior in university. In this episode, we talk about his process of writing poems and performing them. My first question is, I've been thinking about this for quite some time. The question has been coming, why would someone write poetry? Like so many genres are available, so why poem? And tapaiko author's notes on chapbook, you've mentioned that the poems, the airplanes and the flying yaks, perhaps could have been stories, but are poems. So I was curious to know, why did you write poems, or where do they come from, and how do your poems get written?
Okay. I can give you a very cheesy answer, right? That's and I think it's cheesy. It's a cliche. The one thing it's cliche because it's true. And so, I think the babies run before they walk. I don't know if you've heard this, right? So humans, when they're developing, they're like babies run before they walk. They sing before they talk. They dance. Babies dance before they walk, and they sing before they talk. So, so the artistic expression चाहिँ एकदमै natural हो जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई, natural human expression हो जस्तो लाग्छ. So त्यसरी नै I think poetry is also just a natural way of playing with language. अनि सबै मान्छेहरूलाई कुनै न कुनै form of artले चाहिँ attract गरेर हुन्छ. So if you follow that attraction, I think you find what you like. कसैलाई गीत गाउन एकदमै रमाइलो लाग्छ. कसैलाई त्यही गीत गाउने, त्यही एउटा गीतमै पनि कसैलाई संगीत एकदम मन परिरहेको हुन्छ, कसैलाई शब्द एकदम मन परिरहेको हुन्छ, हैन? अनि कुनै कुनै गीत हुन्छ शब्द एकदम सरल खालको शब्द हुन्छ, तर अनि मान्छेहरूलाई कस्तो एकदम यो डीप छ भने जस्तो. It's probably their way of identifying with the song, हैन? So if you follow your attraction towards the arts, you'll get somewhere. जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई. कसैले कथा पढ्छन्, कसैले निबन्ध पनि रमाइलो लाग्छ कसैलाई. So त्यो भइसकेपछि मलाई चाहिँ when I followed my attraction, म चाहिँ अब पोएट्री तिर पुगेपछि I think that is why I write. I write because I enjoy poetry. And once you enjoy listening to something, reading something, you want to do that as well. And so त्यो formबाट I think it just grew up from there. Why do people write it? भन्दाखेरि it's very. The answer to that is like, why don't people write it? When I ask the question, I guess. Yeah. So why don't people write poetry? When asked, now think about it. How would anyone answer that question? So in that sense, it's just a natural extension to language. मेरो लागि नाच्ने मान्छेहरूको लागि it's probably just a natural extension to movement. हामी पनि खुसी, म नर्तक त होइन, तर खुसी भएर म पनि उफ्रिन्छु. I jiggle a little, होइन? So त्यो it's just a natural expression जस्तो लाग्छ. अनि if you allow yourself to follow that attraction and त्यो artistic thread, you'll get somewhere just like and so मेरो लागि चाहिँ त्यो poetry थियो. Yeah, I think so. Or in abstract sense,
that's cool. Like, why don't people not write poetry? I should probably ask this question
to someone else.
People.
Don't ask that to me. मान्छेहरु किन कविता लेख्छन् भन्दाखेरि कसैलाई find someone and go like तपाई किन कविता लेख्नु हुँदैन right? That maybe that'd be a good way.
Yeah, kavita bhanda pani it could also be art. तपाई किन art गर्नु हुँदैन भनेर
exactly,
which is like हामी किन art गर्छौं भनेर सोधिराको हुन्छ, but why don't we not do it is like that's an interesting way to look at it. I've known you as a spoken word poet and a slam poet, so how did your journey there began? Like, कसरी interest भयो in performance poetry and slam poetry and putting yourself out there in the stage?
मेरो interest चाहिँ अब let's see how far back to go. Let's go to the very beginning. मा जाने हो भने चाहिँ म पेजबाट स्टेज अथवा स्पोकन वर्ड पोएट्री को सीन क्रिएट गर्नेमै वर्ड वरियर्स एज अ पोएट्री ग्रुप उनीहरुको ठुलो ठुलो कन्ट्रिब्युसन छ. म आफूलाई पनि वर्ड वरियर भनेरै introduce गर्छु धेरै ठाउँहरुमा and I believe I am one of them. So त्यो भइसकेपछि we had these like series of workshops जुनले चाहिँ नेपालमा spoken word poetry अलिकति introduce गर्नुपर्छ, अलिकति यसलाई यो राम्रो कुरा हो है, यसलाई अलिकति फैलायो भने मान्छेहरुले राम्रै हुन्छ है भन्ने एकदम सिम्पल थट हो. त्यो थट चाहिँ त्यो थटको अन्तर्गत I think word warriors मा चाहिँ युक्ता र उज्ज्वला they've taken they took the lead to just like make this happen भने जस्तै. अनि उनीहरुको so there was a Facebook group and essentially I was a member in the Facebook group and if online interaction बाट नै the community was so nice that it was possible for me to like go out and physically meet them for a workshop and all that. And all of this was before COVID, eh? So we had like online things happening before COVID. So I think this was like way back. Disclaimer I'm very bad with remembering exactly when. This sad 2012 सन 2012 तिर होला. Not Bikram Sambat, so not that ancient. I think it was 2012. But Facebook group my engagement site could have been 2009, 2009 2011 to 10 देखि होला. अनि त्यति बेला त्यो कम्युनिटी अहिले त्यो पेज अहिले पनि छ, but then अब त्यो पेजको चाहिँ अहिले I don't know, त्यो त्यसको पनि अब समय आइसक्यो जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई कहिले. तर sometimes some things get so big that it changes नि त हैन. So त्यो चाहिँ it used to be very small group जहाँ चाहिँ it was possible to have like a good feedback खालको यो राम्रो छ, यो पार्ट राम्रो लाग्यो भन्ने खालको त्यो खालको conversation possible थियो त्यति बेला. So त्यही conversation, that was a very rich conversation in that sense. अनि अब नेपालमा त्यो एउटा उखान त हैन त्यो भनाइ हो कि खोइ के भन्ने हो त्यो ट्रुप जस्तो छ के, जस्तो कविलाई भेट्यो भने त्यसले समातेर कविता सुनाइहाल्छ भन्ने टाइपको त्यो भनेको जस्तो अलिअलि छ. तर when you get this community where people like you want to write and read poetry, त्यो एकदमै rich experience हुँदो रहेछ के. And that experience shaped my journey into coming to the stage, being part of the group, and doing things out in the real world. So mostly we do things in the real world. That's how it started for me. So how it started for Ujjwala Yuktam may be different, right? So that's how it started for me. So I joined in on their movement.
Of course, Board Warriors. I'm also a member of that group, that Facebook group. I probably joined in very, 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 very later on. But Board Warriors,
when did
like you mentioned.
Like when did you join and how did you find out about it?
So, like you said, I'm also bad with dates. I don't remember, but I joined it exactly but it was during college when I was an undergrad. One of my friends, they say, "Hey, World Warriors ko event bhaइरहेछ त्यहाँ poetry भन्छ के भनेर लिएर गएको थियो कि." So that is how I came to know, and I've performed a few times with the World Warriors too. So yeah, it's indeed it's something that a lot of us can relate to and understand. Do you have any favorite memories with the World Warriors, or it's okay lesson or reflection or epiphany that you'd like to share?
There's a good way of putting this. let me try to frame this in a very in a nice way. So there was this one instance, I know. So I'm just doing a comparison. And this one instance, I just went to this other place, which is not World Warriors wala, know. So I went to like a poet gathering type go, or someone said there was an event. I just went there and thank God, and I did not have fun, right? This man saying, I mean, there were people, there were poets, they were reading poems, but I did not have fun. I keep I think it was so dry. कस्तो impersonal जस्तो लागिरहेको थियो कि. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is just to highlight the fact कि what worries-मा चाहिँ I've always found this sense of community. The memory I have with what worries is just the sense of community around things. Growing up and trying to be a poet, trying to write better, and trying to understand poetry is a learning process. Okay? So I remember many conversations about what it means to write, होइन अनि त्यसपछि सो यो सबै कुराहरू चाहिँ सायद अब एकदम दामी ठाउँमा युनिभर्सिटीमा गएर फाइन आर्ट्स पढेको भए यो सबै कुरा क्लासरुममा हुन्थ्यो होला कि. तर मेरो लागि चाहिँ यो सबै कुरा त्यो एउटा कम्युनिटीमा भएको छ कि. सो अल अफ दिस वी थट हामी त्यहाँ बसेर घन्टौँ बसेर नि घन्टौँ होइन क्या लाइक हप्तौँसम्म त्यही कन्भर्सेसन चलिरहेको हुन्थ्यो भने वी ट्राई टु स्ट्रक्चर द्याट थट होइन यो यस्तो हो कि यो यस्तो हो कि भनेर गफ गरिरहन्थ्यौँ. सो because we had a project हामी गरिरहेको थियो, so it enabled us to be like a work environment पनि. So तर अब हामी साथीहरू पनि थियौँ, we were a poetry group पनि. So त्यो भएर चाहिँ there are quite a few memories, I know, particularly सोचे भने अहिले यसो सम्झिन थाल्यो भने there'll be events or points in time that pop up that are overall मा चाहिँ लाग्छ नि just a sense of community, just a sense of curiosity जुन त्यो कम्युनिटीमा छ. अनि just a sense of त्यो एनर्जी थियो क्या एउटा जस्तो कस्तो भने we were not trying to go in a certain direction, but we just wanted to go in the right direction भने जस्तो, or let's just do good things. Let's just do good things and let's just do things that's important and that we think is important भन्ने खालको त्यो भइसकेपछि it wasn't like ए यो चाहिँ गर्दै नगरौँ यो चाहिँ गरौँ भन्ने त्यो वाला थिएन. So we're just there having fun and we just had this group and the group was enabling things, right? So I think it was the power of community. So in that sense, my favorite memory is just being there amongst other poets.
That's lovely. एकजना अर्को साथी was also a poet सँग कुरा गरिरहेको थिएँ अनि my friend didn't know about World Warriors when they were like there, and we were saying, oh, how we miss the scene and the events and the gatherings. So yeah, I like the community, of course. That's a very important part. So after that bit of background and icebreaker, shall we dive into your chapbook?
Yeah.
No songs intended. How did you create that?
So my answer is, I think I'm going to lead into this as well. So how did I create that? I think it was, let's put it this way, it was created, and it wasn't I who created that.
Wow.
Right? So I think I was there. I wrote the poems. The words are mine, but the book is a book. It's there because we did things, and it was created as a series, first round of publication through the Word Warriors Panda. So at this point, I think this was, इसको चाहिँ date सम्झिन्छ म होला. This is, it's probably written somewhere. It's probably 2006. Yeah, it's 2016, right? It's 2016. हामीले त्यति बेलासम्म we had done this project called Right to Speak, and this was a funded arts-based project जहाँ चाहिँ spoken word poetry को हाम्रो काम चाहिँ spoken word poetry लाई चाहिँ नेपालको अरू सहरहरूमा लाने पनि थियो. अनि यही प्रोजेक्टको अन्तर्गत चाहिँ हामी इलाम, धनगढी, पोखरा सबैमा गएको थियौँ. यही प्रोजेक्ट अन्तर्गत हामीले वीरगन्जमा कार्यक्रम गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यति बेला there was that त्यो भुइँचालो आएको साल पनि त्यही हो. So ठ्याक्क त्यो भुइँचालो आएको साल चाहिँ हामी त्यति बेला वीरगन्जमा we were doing our events. I was literally walking down the street अनि साथीहरु चाहिँ होटलमा हुनुहुन्थ्यो. So all of that. So that was, the project was happening then. त्यसपछि त बाहिर अरू सहर जाने काम बन्द हो. तर towards the end सकिने बेला हैन कि त्यो पछाडितिरको ठाउँमा चाहिँ हामीलाई के फिल भयो भने ए हैन अब हामीले we are spoken word poets, but then we नेपाल बाहिर जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ अनि you don't always have your YouTube devices with you, but so when we were going out doing events and all that, and त्यति बेला चाहिँ हामीलाई अलिअलि के फिल हुन थाल्यो भने ए हैन एउटा किताब जस्तो, someone, people come up and want to have your poems, or ए यो यसको कपी यहाँ छ भने एउटा किताब जस्तो के भयो भने चाहिँ it's a better way of presenting, and it's a classic way of presenting, हैन. So त्यो भएर अनि एउटा किताब जस्तो बनाउनु पर्छ कि भनेर त्यो सोचिरहेको थियौँ. अनि त्यसपछि we decided we do त्यति बेला तीनटा, I think we did 3 rounds of publication त्यति बेला. I think 2 rounds. So मैले बिर्सेँ अहिले. We either have 6 or 9 in total. I should know this because I was really involved in this. तर I don't, अहिले बिर्सिन थाल्छु. अनि could be 9. अनि त्यसपछि so my book was in the first round. त्यसमा चाहिँ मेरो No Songs Intended अनि उज्जवलाको chapbook अनि युक्तको chapbook भनेर हामी 3टा chapbook first round ma publish गरेर अनि अरु, so I had that, and that's how it came about. तर कसरी, how did the, I think it's like how did the poems inside that come about is the thing. यसमा चाहिँ मैले इनिशियल कविताहरू कलेक्ट गरेर राखेको छु, जस्तै चुराको गीत, पत्थर, अनि तिम्रो निन्द्रा हराम भयो भने अरु कविताहरू पनि छ. अनि when I was just like looking back at this book, I was just like, ए यो कविता पनि यसमा छ मलाई भइरहेको थियो मलाई. Yeah, that's logistically that is how it came about. तर it came about हाम्रो, I think how did we create that भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ it's a reverse process. किनभने हामी पहिले पेपरमा कविता लेख्थ्यो नि, कविता लेख्थ्यो, कम्प्युटरमा लेख्थ्यो, टाइप गर्थ्यो, फेसबुकमा पोस्ट गर्थ्यो, त्यसपछि त्यतिले चित्त बुझेन. And then we went on to, अनि त्यसै भेटौँ न भन्यो, स्टेजमा गयो, अनि त्यसपछि we started bringing the poem from the page to the stage, right? So these poems are poems that have been taken from the stage to the page. Okay? So these are most of these, like एउटा दुईटा चाहिँ छोटो छोटो कविता छ, तर कतिवटा छ 8-9 वटा कविता छ होला. It's a chapbook हैन, सानो, it's just like a pamphlet publication जस्तो. So most poems यसमा चाहिँ स्पोकन वर्ड पोम्सहरु हो सो यो चाहिँ स्पोकन वर्ड पोम्सको रिटन फर्म मात्र हो these are supposed to be experienced while a poet is performing it on the stage तर एउटा लिखित दस्तावेज तयार पारौँ भनेर नि लिखित दस्तावेज तयार पारेको अनि I think most of the poems यसमा कालो कविता अथवा पत्थर चुरा गीत अनि mass airplanes flying axe यिनीहरू यो सबै चाहिँ these are all poems I have created while being part of the community. Right, so these are all spoken word ish poems. Ish, I know, like spoken word poems, and so these have been written for the stage. And so chapbook, it's a collection of them in words. When if someone would want to rather read it instead of just going on YouTube and looking it up, so they were a collection. So it was helpful when we went out, when we talked to people, when we were trying to meet new people and network and whatever. And they were like, "Oh, you have collection. You can just take if you want. You can read through it." I mean, the idea about so I think it was a good experience as a poet, just to see your work printed on paper, binding paper ISBN number and say like, "Hey, kitabe ho kya?" So this
yeah, so it went from the stage to the page.
Yeah,
that's an interesting process. Would you like to read some bit of it, and maybe we can talk about how you created that particular poem, this Kapashariko creative process behind the scene?
Okay. Well, let's see. I think I told you I'd make up my mind, but I didn't. I didn't make up my mind.
Whichever you feel like.
So, usually like when people want to listen to me read any of my poems, it's 9 times out of 10 it's Churago Geet, which I have agreed 7 times out of 10 to people.
Okay.
But I think because we're in an audio podcast medium, there's probably this other poem that might better fit this medium, that's too long or go. And the performance is on YouTube itself, so I'll read from this poem Patthar.
Okay.
I think it's short enough. Sure. Medium play. So Patthar. बगैँचामा बस्दा म एकाएक पत्थर बन्ने गर्छु अनि टल्ल परेर हेर्छु छेउको अर्को ढुङ्गा के छ ब्रो भन्छु उताको ढुङ्गाले यसो इशारा गर्छ कति भए बसेको सोध्छु म त यहाँ बसेको 2 महिना भयो कसैले अस्ति आएर शरीरमा रातो टाउकोमा सेतो पोतेर गयो अनि यतै बसे म शोभा भए म बगरमा बस्दा म एकाएक पत्थर बन्ने गर्छु अनि टल्ल परेर हेर्छु छेउको अर्को ढुङ्गा के छ ब्रो भन्छु उताको ढुङ्गाले यसो इशारा गर्छ कति भए बसेको सोध्छु म त यहाँ बसेको 2 दशक भयो अस्ति कोही आयो निधारमा टीका लगाएर गयो अनि यतै बसे म देउता भए म बसमा सफर गर्दा म एकाएक पत्थर बन्ने गर्छु अनि अन्तिम सिटमा सामान्यतया कहिलेकाहीँ विन्डो सिटहरुमा फिलोसफिकल फिल हुन्छ अनि टल्ल परेर हेर्छु छेउको अर्को ढुङ्गा अर्को सिटमा के छ ब्रो भन्छु उताको ढुङ्गाले यसो इशारा गर्छ कति भए बसेको सोध्छु म त यहाँ बसेको 2 वर्ष भइसक्यो एक दिन यसरी नै बाहिर बस्दै थिएँ कोही आयो बोकेर लग्यो ओट लगायो अनि सँगै राख्न थाल्यो अनि यतै बसे म सहारा भए म कहिलेकाहीँ हिड्दा हिड्दै म पत्थर बन्छु र पत्थरै भएर हिड्छु वरिपरि सबै मान्छेहरू काम गर्दैछन् लुखुर लुखुर हिड्दैछन् पत्थर त मै मात्र हो कि मान्छेहरूको बस्तीमा म मात्र ढुङ्गे धन्यवाद Shakya. So this is thank you. So this is a short poem, I think would be appropriate. So this is one of the poems your kitab mathiyo ani. I mean, I do remember about this poem, but I had forgotten कि यो किताबमा यो पनि कविता छ भनेर. यो पनि त छ है भनेर.
Wow. My kids have bro lines like them. It just feels funny, but it also feels right at that moment. And what is this with the window scene and philosophical and bosses? सबैजना त window seat पायो भने philosopher हुन्छ होला बसमा.
Absolutely. And त्यो त हुनु पनि पर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ. It's just such a classic image of philosophizing. Now think about it. It's very difficult to philosophize if you're on the aisle seat, okay? And the bus go. And if you're in the middle, and the bus conductor is just like going back and forth, collecting money. Like it's very difficult to philosophize the well. So I think go for the window seat.
Yeah, go for the window seat.
Yeah, go for the window seat. Absolutely.
I need to take a bus afterwards, so I'm going to go for the window seat.
Absolutely.
So can we hear more about the thought process or the creative process behind this poem called Patthar? कहाँबाट आयो अनि यसमा कति धेरै इमेजेसहरु छ. Of course it's a metaphor as well. A little bit on that.
I think यसको के भन्छ स्रोत सोच, right? The root of the thought चाहिँ के हो भने I come from a Baun family, right? My father is a proper Baun. I know, like बिहान उठ्ने पूजा गर्ने धोती फेरेर पूजा गर्ने वाला thing, right? माछा नखाने, right? All that. जुनको झल्को चुराको गीत सुन्यो भने त्यहाँ पनि त्यो सुनेपछि थाहा भइहाल्छ अलिअलि झल्को. So I've talked about these things. So we have an interesting relationship with stones, हैन, पत्थरहरुसँग, ढुङ्गाहरुसँग, right? So in poetry there's always this idea of like भगवान हो कि ढुङ्गा हो and all of that, right? So and that is one phase of relationship. अनि अर्को चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने पहिले जब म अटेरी थिइन, हैन, अनि चाहिँ कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ so when there was need, I would do the karko puja again. Like I wouldn't do it every day, but when my father had to go somewhere early in the morning and there was no one to do puja, so it was my job to, the puja must go on. So it was my job. Right? I went in and this is that is so. You start developing a relationship with the stones that you worship. हैन, अनि त्यो त भगवान हो नि त. सो गणेश वाला भगवान छुट्टै हुन्छ, देवी वाला भगवान छुट्टै थियो, अनि नाइस वाला त्यो शालिग्राम भयो भने चाहिँ विष्णुको शालिग्राम हो. And then you had these like stones and they belonged to you and they were your gods, हैन. मलाई चाहिँ यो कुराहरु अनि यो कुराहरु दिमागमा खेलिरहन्छ. अनि so you're looking at stones and you're taking them as metaphors for gods. And of course, like we're not त्यो mineral deposit ले हाम्रो भाग्य बनाउने त होइन होला, हैन, तर it's a point of it's a metaphor essentially. And if you're writing poetry, it should be plenty easy for you to understand why people worship stones, right? It's a metaphor, it's an image, right? It's an image for whatever it could mean. So त्यो भइसकेपछि यो कवितामा चाहिँ मैले गरेको भने चाहिँ I just wanted to extend that and think of that as भगवान ढुङ्गा हुन सक्छ अनि मान्छे पनि त ढुङ्गा हुन सक्छ नि. So there can be a ढुङ्गा that symbolizes me, हैन, and I could be the ढुङ्गा as well. So and then you start the lines of comparison and similarities, they start blurring. अनि that's where I start thinking like म पनि एउटा पत्थर हुँ हैन भगवान भनौँ न विष्णु शिव दुर्गा पत्थर हुन सक्छ भने त्यो समीप पनि त पत्थर हुन सक्छ एउटा सानो लाइक भगवानले गर्न सक्छ म गर्न सक्छु भने हैन कि भगवान त हुन सक्छ भने म पनि त हुन सक्छु भने जस्तो so I always had this like curiosity for stones and what that means and why do we do it, idol worshipping when asked to, and all of that. So this you point to background thoughts, and I think how do you create that is you just start thinking about the things you do as someone growing up. I went into the puja kotha, and त्यसपछि हरेकचोटि मैले त्यो भगवानहरूलाई नुहाएँ, भगवानहरूलाई टीका लगाएँ, भगवानहरूलाई फूल चढाएँ, भगवानहरूलाई प्रसादी खुवाएँ, and all of this was these were stones essentially, right? So त्यसरी चाहिँ you just take that thought, त्यो thought चाहिँ रुइयो हो क्या, अनि त्यो रुइयोलाई जस्तै त्यो बत्ती बात्छ नि हैन, you take a thread and you pull it out and then it takes a shape, and so that's that, right? So you need to have that. I always needed to have that raw thought, and the thought बाट चाहिँ यो thought के हो त भने once you start going in there, then it becomes a longer thread, right? It becomes a longer thread that you can pull. So the process for that is growing up, being furious that you have to do puja, but then having to do puja anyways. I don't know. धोती फेर्ने, नुहाउने, भगवान नुहाउने, and then get out of that and then think about it. Later on, sit in the back of the bus, philosophize, write a poem, right? So that was, if there's a flow chart, that's the flow chart.
Wow.
The idea that I'm trying to relay here is it came out of my own experiences and me reflecting on my experiences. So मेरो लागि चाहिँ there are some poems यो यही किताबमा पनि, and there are so many other poems that I have written, and त्यो अहिले त्यो कविता if I if that comes up on my blog or if I find those poems, मलाई त्यस्तो हुन्छ के त्यो बुक हुन्छ नि यस्तो oh my god यो मैले लेखा हो भने जस्तो it's like you saw a bad plate of food जस्तो के त्यो कहिले घिन लाग्छ यो मैले लेखा हो भने त्यस्तो पनि हुन्छ हैन. This is not one of those poems. यो पोम एकदम सिम्पल, मलाई चाहिँ सिम्पल पनि छ जस्तो लाग्छ. It's not revolutionary पनि के म ढुङ्गा हो पत्थर, it's not that revolutionary पनि, तर मेरो लागि चाहिँ एउटा honest poem हो. And this comes out of me thinking about stones a lot of times. So यसमा पनि मैले सोचेको छु भगवान ढुङ्गा भगवान हुन्छ भने ढुङ्गा त्यही ढुङ्गा बसमा ओट लाउँदाखेरि त्यो सहारा पनि हो हैन, अनि त्यो ढुङ्गा सजाएर राख्दाखेरि त्यो हिरा मोती यिनीहरू पनि मोती पनि ढुङ्गा त ढुङ्गै हो, तर हिरा हैन these ruby stones and all, these are minerals, these are stones, right? Precious stones यिनीहरू पनि उनी हो ढुङ्गा हो. अनि त्यो उहरुमा पार्कहरुमा अथवा यो कहिलेकाहीँ हुन्छ नि मिलिटरी ब्यारेक्सहरुको थ्रु पास हुँदाखेरि अनि यस्तो पेन्ट गरेर राखेको हुन्छ नि रातो सेतो रुखहरुमा पनि रातो सेतो पेन्ट गरेर हुन्छ नि, त्यो पनि ढुङ्गा हो हैन, त्यो चाहिँ भगवान होइन यो चाहिँ भगवान हो भन्छ. So it's like in that sense, and I'm extending that idea to kind of like understand myself as a stone and what role as a stone may I have. मान्छे ढुङ्गा हो कि ढुङ्गा मान्छे हो कि, so all of that. So कविता पुरै एक्सप्लेन त हुँदैन, तर प्रोसेस त त्यही हो.
A lot of what we write does come from our surrounding and our experiences. अनि तपाईले भन्नुभयो नि the thread that it takes shapes and it extends. So how do you know it's time to end it in the sense अब यो कविता चाहिँ complete भयो, this is the end, यहाँ चाहिँ सकाउनु पर्छ, यहाँ चाहिँ टुङ्ग्याउनु पर्छ भनेर? How did you decide with यो पत्थर भन्ने कविता अनि in general पनि अरु कविताहरुमा पनि? How do you know that? Is it a feeling or are there any techniques?
There's mostly a feeling. There could be, you could go down a technical route. For example, if you take a poetry structure, हैन, कुनै छन्दको कविता लियो रे भने, and this is then you have a structure. For example, if you're writing a haiku, you know it has to end in 3 lines, right? So you can't go on like, hey, मैले 18 is divisible by 3 no okay मैले 19 लाइनको हाइकु लेखेँ भनेर you can't go around say मैले 19 लाइनको हाइकु लेखेँ I mean of course you can go around doing that तर it's your interpretation of an haiku, right? It's not the real thing when I ask them. So if you take a technical structure, if you follow a structure, you know, just the चार lines को चार paragraph वाला लेख्छु भने you start sounding like Lekhnath Paudel, I know, so there's no problem with that, and then you know much sort line ma सक्का छु. If you're writing a 16 bars लेख्छु भने अब 16 line लेख्छु भने त भने हैन, so you have this technical idea that you want to do that. If you look at this poem, it slightly has a structure, but it doesn't necessarily is not like a fixed universal structure. There's 3 ideas. Idea 1, idea 2, idea 3. There's ढुङ्गा चाहिँ शोभा हो, ढुङ्गा चाहिँ देउता हो, ढुङ्गा चाहिँ सहारा हो. There's like 3 ideas, and then there's a paragraph that reflects on these 3 experiences, and त्यसपछि मान्छेहरुको बीचमा म ढुङ्ग्यो, and then there's the word play on myself. So there is a structure in that sense. So यो कवितालाई मैले लामो पार्नु पर्ने भने I could think of what other things stones could represent. I could add paragraphs, I know. Spoken word poetry ma pani त्यो structure छ. So a lot of times how do I know when to end the poem is depends on how much stage time I have, right? So they'll be like, म तपाईलाई 5 मिनेट दिन्छु भन्यो भने स्टेजमा तपाईलाई 5 मिनेट दिन्छु भने you can't write a 7 minute long poem, right? Your poem has to be 5 minutes long, or it could be 2 poems that's split into that combine to mean in total of 5 minutes. So spoken word poetry ma generally हाम्रो टुल चाहिँ हामी अब जस्तो हामीले slam competitions हरु गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ we cap performances at 3 minutes. So त्यो चाहिँ अब in general terms त्यो चाहिँ अब एउटा स्ट्यान्डर्ड जस्तो भइसक्यो के. यो कविता लेख्दा 3 मिनेट लामो कविता लेख्नुपर्छ भने जस्तो ठिकै हो, गीतहरु पनि 3 मिनेट लामो हुन्छ भने जस्तो 3 minutes is good enough भने जस्तो हैन. त्यो हुन्छ, but then कुनै 2 मिनेट पनि हुन्छ, 4 मिनेट पनि हुन्छ. So स्ट्रक्चरले पनि डिटरमाइन गर्छ when you finish भन्दा नि, when you finish भन्दा पनि how much you write. If you follow a structure, you usually know how much you write. If you're writing freely अनि त्यो लेन्थ जत्रो पनि भयो नि हुन्छ, अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ म यसलाई स्पोकन वर्ड पोममा कन्भर्ट गर्छु भनेर लेख्ने हो भने चाहिँ त्यति बेला चाहिँ I don't know the answer to your question. The second one is a very difficult one, because whenever I go back to मेरो कविताहरु, I just feel like I want to change things in there. So किनभने मेरो कविता हो नि त, so I can do whatever I want with it. I can change it, right? I can change the lines, I can put some things in, I can put some things out. And spoken word poetry मा चाहिँ के रमाइलो कुरा हुन्छ नि, it's like every time you do that poem on a stage, it doesn't have to be the same poem, and that's the thing with printed poems and spoken word poems. Okay? So I have a poem with me. This is a performance, right? So I can perform this as I want somewhere else. I'm not like a freestyle rapper जस्तो हैन, नयाँ भर्स चाहिँ थप्न सक्ने क्षमता चाहिँ मेरो छैन. तर एउटा दुईटा लाइन्सहरु राख्ने नराख्ने, अथवा as the poems go on and you see how the audience reacts to that, you can change what you've written in order to better get a better feel for what you're trying to say. Like मैले emphasize गर्न खोजे point यो हो, तर audience ले चाहिँ यसलाई ध्यान दिइरा छैन भने चाहिँ you go around and you write it in a way that you give more emphasis to this part, you know. So त्यो हिसाबमा चाहिँ you can follow a structure and have enough length for your poem, or when the thought runs out, or I don't know. So the second question, right? So the other way, is, I don't know. That's very difficult. You just end it at a certain point, I guess. You're like, यो भन्दा बढी मैले सोच्न पनि सकिन, मान्छेले सुन्न पनि सक्दैन भने जस्तो त्यो होला सायद.
त्यो कहाँ एन्ड गर्ने, कति लेख्ने is very dicey. त्यो कहाँ एन्ड हुन्छ त, you don't know. penma masisakyo and then it ended, or
and he's as a penma masisaki then.
yeah, exactly.
It would have been simpler days.
You write digitally most of the time, and this unless power phone ko battery sakyo, maybe.
I know you write poems as well. So how do you go about it? What has been your process? Like, how do you know तिम्रो कविता कहिले सकिन्छ भनेर?
I know how it starts, but most times I don't know how it ends. Starting clear हुन्छ. I don't know. I feel like I can see it, and then that's why it starts. Start भएर त start भएको होला नि त. तर end चाहिँ I struggle a lot with it, ending, not just with poems, but stories को पनि ending, अथवा कुनै speech को पनि ending. अलिकति त्यो conclusion तर्फ चाहिँ अलिक I have to, I think, work a little bit on it. Like you mentioned, the stage time, sometimes people have the पढ्दै गर्दाखेरि लामो भएको जस्तो feeling आउँछ नि आफूलाई. This is kind of stretching, or I am repeating stuff. Maybe that could, but I agree with you. It's a difficult question, and you threw it back at me.
It's something we need to figure out collectively. So the answer is that there is. It's difficult to know. So there are many factors that influence that: stage time, how much time you have, what's the length anyone is willing to listen to you. As spoken word poets, you start considering the audience in your writing process. That's something we've learned, instead of just like being writing on this page where you're assuming that your audience is reading it quietly in their room or in their garden or whatever. I hope they're reading it in their garden, and it's a mere romantic notion of that. They're probably reading it in the, I don't know, bus. Coursework, which is not my poems. I don't know coursework and all that. Phone screen
phone screen, yeah. YouTube ma
हेरिरहला. So
perhaps. So we're arriving almost at the end. So shall we do the rapid fire thing? Oh my God. This is just like okay. So the questions are, I suppose, easy. I don't know. It could be hard, but let's see.
Shoot.
Okay. Who's your favorite poet?
I am my favorite poet. No,
wow.
No, I'm not. I don't have a favorite poet. I like reading contemporary poets. I like reading people who are still alive as well. I don't say. There are good poems I like. There are lovely poems I like. Favorite poet,
okay. Is there a poem by someone else that you wish you had written?
No. Rapid answer, no.
No. Okay, rapid answer, no. You had to think real hard for that. Your favorite poem that you wrote?
It's a nice one. Yeah.
Is there a writing advice that you use that somebody gave you, or maybe you read somewhere?
Write like you speak. Write like you would speak. Yeah. Write like you would see this. Like, how would you see this? And just try to write it in that way.
Great. The final question for the rapid fire.
Yes.
We've reached there. What writing advice would you give to any writer, poet, or artist out there?
Put things out there. Publish your Instagram page. Write it in your stories. Bore your friends with your poems. Go to poetry readings. Read other people. Just publish. Like social media, YouTube, TikTok. Just do it.
Put yourself out there.
Basically. Yeah. If you want to. If you want to.
Which is scary, but that's how probably things roll. I really liked when you said the tapeko book saying you didn't create it, but the words are yours, of course, but that it was created because you were doing things in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. It was created by the community. I wrote the poems, no plagiarism there. So I wrote the poems. Those are my creations, but the book belongs to the community. It's not my book. I mean, it's got my name, so it's also got. It comes out of the effort of a community. So it's so amazing that the things you can do amazing things as part of a group, as part of a community. And if you find a friend who likes doing poetry as well, like, go, share your poems. Maybe that's a writing advice. Like, if there's someone who likes poems as well, read together or write together or share your writing with them. That might just be the first stage.
That's such a lovely thought. I'm gonna bore my friends by sending out my poems and everything else.
Someday they will bring their friends to your events. They'll purchase a ticket. They'll sit down in the chair. You'll be up there. You'll read your poem, and they'll clap, and they'll be happy that they were one of the first ones who read your poems.
Wow.